Alright, what's up guys? Here's another update. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so we figured we'd keep you in the loop as to how everything's going, because we've been working really hard.
We've got 25 days left until Rocky Mountain Raceweek, and still got quite a bit left to do. We're making okay progress.
We're gonna be down to the wire again. We're gonna be really excited just to do nothing after race week, but until race week we are pretty booked.
Just working on all the small details and a couple big things that are taking forever.
Board's looking better, but the few cards that are still on here are really big cards. The body harness and the Terminator wiring is not bad, but integrating that into a new body harness is, we'll show you more on that. That's like the biggest card up here right now.
I mean, there's not much to integrating the Terminator. There's just a few wires that
I guess the body harness that's the big one.
Yeah.
We don't need to order anything. Everything's on order now. So we're waiting on a few things. We're waiting on some trailer parts, waiting on some more mufflers from Holley, and parts from SendCutSend for the overflow tank and the tow hitch. Lots of little things. We have to rewire the trailer. We'll show you some work on the trailer, intake, and then finishing out the exhaust out the back. So there's not a lot, but there's still a lot because we'd really like to test drive the car more, and hoping we're gonna get time for that. It's gonna be close. What have you been up to? Show me what you've been working on.
All the wires.
All of the wires. So the car's torn apart again, which has been pretty unmotivating. Nick did some really fancy duct work in here to the dash. So that's all done, and now just running all the wiring. I had to pull back the carpet to do the driveline loop. And what this is for is if we have a driveline failure while we're racing, it keeps the driveline from falling down and basically launching you. So I'm really glad we have that, and that is from Holley. That's a Lakewood driveline loop that I had to customize a little bit to fit the Z just right, but turned out okay. We did some powder coat. So the dash was completely torn apart. We took out the whole dash harness because it was very melty,
Somebody had messed with it. There had been a few of the wires that they must have shorted and tried to burn a lot of the harness.
Yeah. So
Autumn went through and repaired that. We were debating on just replacing everything, but there's so many connections to the factory dots and stuff, and the way things were routed and going to the factory plugs, it would have taken a really long time to try to decipher and just run new stuff.
And Dotson does something weird with the grounding, right?
Some of the stuff is switched ground.
Yeah, which is not standard.
Through like the high beam switch and a couple other things, I think, but
yeah. We had to get a new cigarette lighter because that may have been the start of the fire. So we got a new to us one of those. This is that 3D printed part that Nick did for the ducting. So that'll take the two original Dotson vents and then go to the Vintage Air. And did another adapter on the ends.
It's a different size hose for the duct.
Yeah. And I went through and I put LEDs in all of my gauges so it's a lot brighter. And then they had like these weird green bulbs in there. So it was
lenses.
Yeah, so it was green lenses. So it was a really interesting green 70s light. So I knocked those out. So now it should just be a bright light. So this is done, I think.
We've got the front turn signal marker light sockets soaking in some evaporust because they were pretty corroded. We were checking to make sure that the lights were working, and the fronts were a little bit intermittent.
Ooh.
So we've been trying to clean those up. We were replacing the marker lights and tail lights and brake lights, all with LED bulbs. And on the front turn signal marker lights, we found inside the lenses there was some grass growing.
Yeah, it was her carbon offset program.
Yeah,
that we didn't know about.
Offsetting the carbon footprint.
Yes. It only would have caused a fire if we hadn't switched to LEDs.
Probably.
which would
Yeah,
have
with
been
the marker
inconvenient.
lights running on,
Yeah.
would have been right against the grass
the dry
growing.
grass.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so rest of the wiring. Here's workbench number 1, and Lena hard at work. Workbench number 2. That's where all the magic's happening.
Yeah.
So Nick took over wiring because trying to have 2 people on the same page for wiring was going to take us longer than one person working on wiring. So while Nick's working on wiring, I'm working on other things. But Nick is the master on this.
No, I'm losing my mind. But
So what's going on? What's the plan? What you doing?
we decided to keep the rear section of the car. We left it alone because that wiring was in good shape. It's going to save us some time not having to run new wiring. And we've got the whole front section for headlights, turn signals, horn, the underhood light, washer fluid, and then we'll run wires for the line lock and AC. I still got to add a couple wires, but this will all go around the front clip. We've kind of blended the painless wiring with some of the factory Dutchman so that the dash would still plug into it, so that we could remove the dash easily, so it wouldn't all be one giant harness. Mm-hmm. We changed the plan a little bit after we started looking at everything we needed. We had gotten this painless harness, which had enough fuses for everything, but then I started thinking about the relays that we needed. You know, headlight relays, the horn relay. The painless fuse block had a horn relay, but that was about it. We needed a fuel pump relay, 2 headlight relays. I wanted a keyed power relay coming from the ignition switch so that all the keyed accessories weren't drawing through the ignition switch. Mm-hmm. Take the load off of that. That's one of the problems with the car, with the old cars in general, is all of the load goes through like the headlight switch and the ignition switch.
They get all melty and burned up,
Yeah.
and then you can't buy new parts.
It's hard on the contacts, and there's voltage drop. And we switched from the painless fuse block and reconnected the painless wiring to this late 90s GM fuse block. Oh, that's the other thing too, is we needed some high amperage fuses for things like the electric fan and the electric power steering. The nice thing about this one is there's enough fuses, about the same amount of fuses as the painless fuse block, but then there's 6 relay spots and then like 6 or 8 large fuse locations.
Nice.
So we just transitioned and converted over to that and reused a bunch of our painless wiring with this.
Which the painless is really nice because it is all labeled. So it's really nice having that wiring on board.
Yep.
This will look really, really clean and kind of have everything in one spot.
Save us from having to mount like 6 different relays randomly. So
looks great.
Since there's not a lot of room in the car, so we need everything compact. And then we had to merge with some of the factory Dutchman components still. We were able to delete a lot of the weird ones, but the wiper, the intermittent wiper relay is one that's got some weirdness going on. So we kept that.
So I think what we didn't show was a big pile of Dutchman wiring that went away.
Yeah,
so
it's over there.
Lena's guarding the wire, all the wiring. This is all the Dutchman wiring that went away. So this is all the emissions, all the stuff that went to the engine that we don't need anymore because we have Terminator. So we really reduced quite a bit.
All the burnt and melted wires are in here.
Yeah.
And we got rid of all the taped,
That one's icky.
electrical taped connections that were factory.
Oh, yeah. Wires like that we were finding all through, especially in the dash, but really all through the harness. So, wiring is in progress.
Yeah.
It's getting closer. He's doing really good.
Closer.
It's quite the headache. And then while we're working on that, we're also working on this. This is the tow rig. How much did we pick this up for?
This was our $1,500, 2,500 6-liter 3/4 ton.
So it's a good truck. It's a good grandpa truck. And
It's like 225,000 miles on it or something like that. But
I think a gentleman had hit a pole or something, and so we replaced a fender and did a little bit of, put a new bumper on, and
yep.
so it should
we've
be
had
good.
it for like almost a year and a half now, but we haven't taken it on any long trips like that.
No.
And so
that's kind of a little bit of a worry, but
yeah, my dad came down and he was helping change some of the stuff. He got the manifolds pulled off, and we fixed some of the broken exhaust bolts that were just annoying and causing exhaust leaks. And then he replaced the steering box because there was a sloppy section in it, I'm guessing from when the previous owner hit the pole, and I think it chipped a tooth in the steering box. So we replaced the steering box, waiting to go back on with the exhaust manifolds and then new plugs and wires.
just doing some preventative maintenance and fixing a few things before we hit the road to give ourselves a better chance.
Yep.
This thing probably gets, what, 9, 10 miles
9
per
or 10
gallon?
maybe towing if we're lucky.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us to our next point of this video. There's currently a huge issue going on with gas. There's actually gas stations running out of gas here in, well, right next door in Washington. And they forecasted gas prices to be up towards $10 a gallon. So we're really hoping and pretending like we didn't see that.
Stop watching the news.
We're really hoping these gas prices don't go to what they think they're going to go to $10 a gallon. Because if that happens, I don't know if we can afford. We didn't budget that much because we have 4,000 miles to drive.
Yeah.
On race week between the tow rig and the Z, and so
It'd be like over $3,000 probably.
I think the current average for gas per gallon is $4.57, and then diesel was $5.
Like $1 more.
Yeah, $1 more.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll put that out there. We're really worried about that. So fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
It can stay somewhat normal just until after race week, and then we'll be okay. But
Yep.
anyways, on to other things. Have we shown this off yet?
I don't remember if we have or not.
Found this on the old marketplace, and what was it advertised as? It was like a 2008, something new. It's like a new trailer.
It's definitely from the 70s or something.
It's definitely old, and
Autumn thought it was adorable.
Anyway, so Nick and Randall went to go get it, and it turned out to be
It's a little
not
sketchy.
good part of town, and it was definitely thrown together, and it was not a new trailer, but it's cute. I mean, it's got a little hatch. So this will open up and you can put tires and all your stuff in there, and it locks-ish, but it needs everything. It needs...
My brother came down and he's been going through like the bearings and checking the bearings, and I think he's gonna have to rewire it, and then we might have to modify the hitch so that it sits on the car a little bit better.
I mean, we can't just leave this.
Oh yeah, we had to get new tires because they were pretty...
Can't just leave that.
Well, they got the ground's nice and
Painted.
it's just hooked in there.
Okay, so that's in progress too. The next is also exhaust. So for LS Fest, we had stopped it right here, right before the diff. And so since we got back, I added an H pipe and brought it back to B bands right under the diff. And so now once I get the mufflers from Holley, I can run it up over the gas tank, well, up next to the gas tank and out the back of the car. So.
Got your nice mounts on there.
Yeah, it's some exhaust hangers. So I'll add some more of those once I get the mufflers in.
Heck yeah, it's looking so good.
Yeah. And then...
What are you doing on the front? What are those dryer tubes?
This is my intake. Well, it was my intake. So I got these from Home Depot to mock up like some of the angles and stuff, and then Nick designed it in the computer, but this is the intake, or it's coming together to be the intake. I didn't even want to show it yet, but I'm excited about it. It's a dual 3 to 4. So the air filters will sit out front here, and then Nick designed all this up in SolidWorks. So this is going to be really cool because typically you'll see like the dual 3s that go into a single 3 and then into a 4. But we want all of the airflows. So Nick designed it to where we should be able to just go dual 3 into 4. It'll take some tricky welding, but I think we can do it. So that's my current project right now.
Killing it. And what are you doing?
She's got her hoof and all of her toys and her new bandana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being a good dog.
So as you can see, we've got a lot of stuff going on.
Very busy.
All the different projects now.
Yes. We're trying for it. I think we can get it all done before race week. It's looking good. We haven't hit any huge hurdles, so just time. We just need more time. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. We'll try and have some more videos out as I get time. Kind of editing in between on the drive in between home and the shop. So we'll try and have some more out as we can.
Thankfully, it's warming up. We aren't having to run the heater all the time. So
that helps.
Yeah. Okay, back to work.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.